Hey, Holy Hustle crew, what's up? I was thinking about something like a lot of us desire community, but what are we willing to do for that community? There's a great chance that you probably been attending church for a very long time, caught up in the routine, caught up in the events that we plan, the gatherings that we have, whether it's a barbecue or whether it's a singles event or whether it's a marriage event or whether it's a Mother's Day event, Father's Day event, youth event, young adult event, adult small group, whatever it is. We find ourselves like, hey man, when these things come up, we want to be a part. However, there's a tension there where a lot of people do come to church and don't feel connected at all. Even though there's all these programs and groups and ministrations, there's no real community and connection. And our pastor really talked about that today. And it had me thinking, like, how can we as a church actually be the church? There's a lot of times that the church gets described as a hospital, and I don't believe that the church should be described as a hospital. Like, yeah, we can function or have functions that are therapeutic, that are healing, that are restorative. However, the church is meant for the believers. It's not meant for the sick. It's meant for the well. It's meant for the whole. And what I mean by that is it's meant and a space that is supposed to be for the extensions of Christ and who he is, like saints, people that he's redeemed. Doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't mean you have it figured out. Doesn't mean you're walking perfectly and flawlessly. What it does mean is that you're a mature believer who knows that you can't do anything on your own accord, who knows that you can't do anything apart from Christ, right? But we're surrounded by so many different people with different walks of life, with different faith values and different beliefs and different ideology, that when we gather, sometimes it feels like there's friction. And why do you think that is? When you come to a church and you feel heavy, when you come to a church and you don't feel like you belong, when you come to a church and you don't feel a sense of community, that is because not everybody that's beside you is well. Not everybody that's beside you is whole. Not everybody that, in other words, I know that could be offensive, but in other words, not everybody is a believer at heart. Because truthfully, if you approach a believer, it should communicate the depiction of what an iron sharpening iron should look like. And iron sharpens iron is not always like everything is calm and collective. Sometimes it could be friction, or a lot of the times there's friction. A lot of the times there's like, I guess, things that ruffles your feathers, but it doesn't push you away. Rather, it develops you and sharpens you. You know, when I bring wisdom to the table with somebody who's wise, you get wiser. That's a proverb. Whereas, like, if the church was more geared towards being a hospital, if you bring wisdom and insight and someone who's not ready to hear it, it's not going to go anywhere. If anything, it might chase somebody away because it's challenging their viewpoint, their point of view. I'm saying this to say that in spite of our view of what a church should be or should look like, we should still strive for community. And even if you're not at a certain place or a certain spot in your walk, or you feel like, yo, I'm not a believer or whatever the case is, you're 100% still welcome in the church. I'm not trying to say that. However, I do want to speak to the foundation of any church that's out there. If your core people are not believers, then you're going to run into a lot of issues. And how do we fix that? One moment at a time. It starts from the leadership all the way down to the people that are serving and the people that are helping that leadership. It also starts with getting back to the basics and it not being about the lights, camera, and action, but it being about prayer and intentionality. We want the church to be known as a house of prayer again. And our generation, especially in our city, needs to do a lot better. Yeah.